you've returned from New Jersey. You had a couple of shows on the weekend. Did you run into anybody we should know about? Any good stories?
Well, I ran into Victoria,
Mm.
and she come up. I walked in the lobby of the hotel, and I heard a voice. A woman's voice said, "Dutch," and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I did something." Or do I owe this person money? Because I didn't recognize the voice. And it was Victoria. And she's always bubbly, and I've always loved her. She's always so up and high. And she hugged me and gave me a kiss, said she'd miss me. And she was at the convention, and she's always great to be around. I met Kevin Nash was there, said hello to him. I made many a trip with Kevin, and I was rushing back to the airport so I wouldn't miss the flight. Scott Steiner, he was there. Right next to me was Luke, Bushwhacker Luke. He was
Mm-hmm.
right next to me. Hey, I met a lady, a girl, wrestler, that I have never met before. And I kept looking at her, and she looked familiar. So finally, I said, "Who is that?" I asked somebody next to me, which was Virgil. Hell, Virgil didn't know either, so we had to ask somebody else. But it was a Jamie Hayter from AEW, and she was very nice. And then Enzo came in there; he was right next to me. And hey, I love to make these conventions because you have all those people around you that you've known before. But to me, what excites me about it are the fans because they're all different and they all come up with a different story, and it's very interesting to listen to. See, I was there maybe 3 hours, maybe a little longer, but the time flies by because the people come by and say, "Hey, do you remember so and so and so and so?" Which I don't, but I always say, "Oh yeah, man, how could I forget that?" And they're very nice, and I was signing my books for them and my photos. And I sign them however they want me to sign them because it's theirs to put on their wall. And I really enjoy making fan conventions because it's as much fun for me, I think, personally speaking, as it is for the fans. And if you're a fan, you're walking down there and you see Kevin Nash here and Scott Steiner and Dirty Dutch and Bush Whacker Luke, and there's Enzo and there's Jamie Hayter. And I mean, that's a nice little trip down the aisleway. And if you want to stop and talk, you can stop and talk. If you don't buy anything, that's okay too, because you're there to have a good time. And those wrestle cons, I guess you can call them that, they do very well, and I enjoy making them. So no great stories other than I almost missed the flight on the way back. You ever been through Newark?
JFK, that's it.
Oh, don't go to Newark. Oh my God. It's like the third world of airports. Oh, it's dirty, and it's actually for New York City. I think it sits on the edge of Brooklyn. I don't know, because New York area gets me confused, but it is, and it's small. I mean, you get some people in there and you can't hardly move around. But it was no big things happened. I got back on time because I was reading that a lot of airlines had canceled flights because of the pandemic had screwed them up or something. But my flights were on time. That's why I thought I was actually going to miss it because I was on time or maybe an hour ahead. They advise you to get there 2 hours ahead, which, but I found a way to get through faster. If you got a bad leg, you can always ask for assistance and they get you through a lot faster.
Mm.
So you could actually do this now. How is your leg, by the way?
Just about walking. I said this to you before. I'm just about walking without crutches, but I'm doing that walk where I look like I've shit myself constantly. That sort of hobbly thing constantly. But yeah, no, I'm improving. Surgery's probably going to be like late November. But they won't do the surgery on me until I get full flexion in my leg. Because whatever flexion you've got. You've actually got to go to the doctors and sort of sit on your knees, and then get down on your knees and then sit on your heels of your feet. To prove that you've got full flexion, because whatever you have before surgery is what you're stuck with after surgery for life. So that's why it's so long, a drawn-out process. This, for people who don't know, I've torn my ACL, I've sprained my MCL, and I've torn my meniscus, but minorly enough that I won't have to have that taken out. So that's something.
Well, take care of yourself.
I will do.
Anyway, New Jersey was rather uneventful, other than it was long. I mean, when I got there, I went to work. As soon as I got there, and I worked. I went up on a Friday. I worked all day Friday. Saturday morning, starting at 8 o'clock, had to be at the event, the venue at 10. Worked at 10 to 4 or to 3:30. Then to the airport, and then I got back in about 1 o'clock in the morning.
I've got a tip for you, but you probably know it. Is another way to get through security is to turn up really late. And then they'll go, calling passengers for 354, whatever. And then you go, that's me. And then you've 2 hours behind, and you walk straight to the front, get straight through to through the security gate and straight to the plane. I mean, I've turned up to airports half an hour before the flight and been rushed straight through. Never miss one.
I didn't know that, but I don't trust it. Believe me.
Oh no, you're flying by the seat of your pants in that kind of game. But I'd rather, instead of sitting for an hour and a half, in the Starbucks waiting for your flight to be called, I'd rather take the risk.
Well, I was doing this, and I was thinking to myself, this is while I was actively wrestling. I used to do this every day almost. I would do it 5 days a week. Show up at the airport, and you go somewhere, you show up at another airport, then you go to the show. Then as soon as you get into the show, you go back to the hotel. Then you either go to the next town or you go back to the airport. But I'm thinking, I used to do this every day. No wonder I'm beat up. Just the flying and traveling alone is enough to wear you out. So, and I'm thinking, I wonder, could I still do this today? And the answer is no, I couldn't do it.
No,
I mean, I could do it, but I would quit probably.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of wrestlers get almost like, maybe not institutionalized, but like the body sort of like chemistry changes somehow to not get so exhausted being on flights all the time. Because when I fly, it's such a draining experience. So how people do it 4 times a week, I'll never know.
Well, you do it if you have to. It's like one of those things that's the life you chose, and so that's the rules you play by. Like I've been to London. Have I ever seen the London Bridge? No. Have I ever seen Big Ben? No. I've seen the inside of what's the arena there called? O Arena?
The O2.
The O2. I've seen the inside of that. And I've seen the airport. I've seen, what's the name of the airport?
There's 3 of them. And I can't remember any of them. I keep wanting to not say LaGuardia. It begins with a H. I can't remember. Gatwick's one of them.
Well, I've seen probably the insides of all of them. And I go to Germany. I never saw anything in Germany much other than a hotel and an Autobahn, saw that, and the inside of an arena. The only thing I saw in Paris, I did see, I swear, I made Jack Swagger get up and go with me. I said, we're going to see the Eiffel Tower. And when I said Eiffel Tower, he said, oh, yeah, well, let's go. Because usually we just lay around in our rooms all day long to time for the show and not go. But I did see the Eiffel Tower, took a picture of it up close. That's it. Did I go up in it? No, because I had to get to the show. So anyway, ask me some questions. Let's start talking.
I will do. Just one more thing about the Eiffel Tower. You know that was built as a temporary structure in the 1800s.
I didn't know
and it's
that.
Still there. There you go. I will move on then, and we're going to get to our first piece of news. And firstly, it's
a temporary structure for what?
Well, do you know what? I think off the top of my head, it was like some World's Fair, and it was meant to be some spectacular temporary structure that was meant to be taken down in a year or 2.
And they kept it.
Well, they just thought, just leave it there. I mean,
hey, they bought Lady Liberty statue too. I mean, they made that. You know, the Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
They made that for the United States for as a gift. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Well, now you know. See, this is educational. Not only are we talking about wrestling, we're talking about a bunch of other crap that has nothing to do with nothing, but it's interesting. All right, so let's get into the questions here.